Hello, everyone. Welcome to Third Innings Day 4. I'm your host, Varun and I'm joined by Shayan and Khan. So, Shayan, let's
Hello,
just get
everyone.
things started right away. Rishabh Pant, he scores his, I want to say 800, or I actually forgot how many hundreds he has.
I think this was his eighth, right? Like he had
Ninth?
seven
Is it
hundreds
eighth
and
or
seven
ninth? He had
nineties.
seven. He had Tala hundreds before. Now he has eight, right?
Yeah, now he has
Yeah.
eight, and I think six of
Six
those are
and
outside
Senna?
Asia. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So, how good is he? How good was his
I mean,
knock?
again, this was a brilliant innings from Rishabh Pant. Of course, he took his chances, and especially I think in that first session, batting was not so easy. But then after a point, I think Pant really gets it and he starts hitting according to himself. And like you saw him that he was talking to himself and everything. Like he was trying to get himself up to speed and really perform to the best of his abilities. And I mean, now he has what, five consecutive half centuries 50 plus scores in England.
Yes, I believe that is the case. Yes. So it's an
Yeah, yeah,
incredible record in England now, all of a sudden.
exactly.
Yeah,
Like
so he has
for the longest
400s in
time,
England now, which is the joint most for any keeper in England, English or
yeah,
overseas. And he's done it
that
in a
is a
fraction of a
spectacular
time
record.
as like Stewart and Pryor, right? It's a
I know,
ridiculous
I know.
record. He's only the second keeper to have twin tons in a test after Andy Flower did it versus South Africa in 2001 at Harare.
Yeah,
So what else? He's the first Indian batter to have twin tons versus England.
correct.
Yeah, it's clearly much better than Sachin, who doesn't have twin sons at all in Test cricket. Let's just start that.
Yeah, so Rishabh Pant also has 200 plus runs in a test match two times now. So
Hmm.
outside Asia. So, and I think the only other player was
Oh,
Kohli
sir.
who had it
Also, this
six
is the
times.
most runs by a keeper in a match in England. That's
Oh,
what we just
wow.
checked as
All
well.
time.
Yeah, all time by keeper in England. So yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, I
So
mean,
he's so good, and his entry point today was a bit more trickier. It was around that
yeah,
22.
slightly
Like
more
when did it come?
tricky.
Like 25th over, right? Roughly
Yeah.
speaking.
After Gill gets out.
Yeah, yeah.
And I
Which is
actually
a
think that,
average entry point in this era for a number five.
yeah, I think that was fine. And as always, like, Rishabh Pant does it again at number five. And I think at this point, he's averaging like 60 at number five. That is a
Yes,
spectacular record. Of course, it's from like 14, 15 innings so far only at the moment. But from Rishabh Pant, like such a brilliant record. Outstanding stuff, man. Honestly.
like he's just incredible, isn't he? He starts off a bit slowly today, like which, no, he does actually.
Exactly.
That's a lie. He doesn't start off slowly. He's trying to attack everything, but he can't attack anything.
Hmm.
So
Yeah. Correct.
then he talks to himself, or tells himself to calm down, and
Correct.
then
Correct.
he just accumulates for a bit. And a fantastic opening session. The morning session was really well done by both batters. I'd say we'll talk about KL in a bit. But
Yep.
Pant again just calms down, and then he gets going. The Rishabh Pant we know he hits two fours versus was it Tung or who does he hit it for? Cast that might be Tung. He hits two fours in a row versus Tung, and I
In
think
the
that's
first
when he
session,
picks up
right?
the pace. No, I think it's the second session I'm thinking of.
How
In a
many
row,
how
he
many did
hits.
he make in the first session? Like how
I
much was
can't
he
remember
striking
that
at
many.
that point? Because I remember his control percentages were still in the 80s early on in the innings, from
This
whatever I can remember. It wasn't like he was completely chancy or anything, but he played that one very weird shot that ended up going for a four. That slog sweep sort of a shot. And but
Pant
then I
made
think after that he
31
starts
runs in the
talking to
first
himself.
session. Yeah. So he makes 31 in the first session. His 50 comes in 83 balls.
Yeah, that is
Right?
unlike
And
Rishabh
then he
Pant. But
goes
then
to
what?
1904. So he gets 40 of his next 21 balls.
And
And
then
then the most unlike punt thing ever, he actually
ever.
is selfish to get his 100.
And I love that. I
It
actually
surprised the heck
love.
out of me.
Yeah. I think at this point even he realizes that yes, he probably needs a few more hundreds for his legacy. No matter as good as he has been as a test keeper bat so far, I think he still needs those runs. And that's the most special thing, right? Like for the longest time we were like England is probably not the best suited for him because the ball moves and everything. Maybe he's more suited to pace and bounce in Australia and everything. So but after like that Edgbaston test, it's just, and even that half century in Oval, I think 2021. So from that point onwards,
Yeah,
Rishabh Pant
he
has
was saying
completely turned it
550
around in
plus
England.
scores and 300s
And
in his
at
last
this
five innings.
point, in the Sena countries, he now averages more than 40 in Test cricket. And the only other player to do that since like 2010 is Virat Kohli. So, and we know this is a tough era for batting, right? And it's not that Rishabh Pant has always had it easy. We saw it in the Border Gavaskar Trophy when he kept having to come in early. And now I think this is much better for him when he's coming in a bit later. And today was still much, much better.
Yes, yes. I think we were looking at it. His match factor is about 1.4 in his games. I think the closest neighbor you'd say would be like someone like an Andy Flower, who also batted at number 5
Exactly.
most of his career. And his
Yeah, yeah,
entry
yeah.
point was similar, which is quite rare in his era. Would be common now, but yeah.
But also, like, just the contrast between both of those players, right? Andy Flower and Rishabh Pant, like, completely different styles of players. Rishabh Pant is probably more of the Adam Gilchrist model of a player who can just take the game away from you in a session with the attacking style of cricket that he has. But the way Rishabh Pant is going now, I think by the end of his career, he will definitely be in these, like, he's already in these conversations, but it will be very interesting to see where he finishes among the greatest test wicket keeping batters.
Yeah. So he's well on track, isn't he? I think
Oh.
he's without a shadow of a doubt the greatest Indian keeper we've ever had.
Yeah, absolutely. And now he averages what, 44.4 in 44 matches?
Yeah, love that. You found that out, so that was
Yeah, that
brilliant.
was a bit funny. So Rishabh Pant was actually 31 of 65 at one point. But then after that,
Yes.
as you saw, like he gets to his 50, and then after a point, when he gets his 50 again, the next 40 runs come really quickly, as you said. So and you're right, it was that tongue over where he gets a couple of fours. One was an edge, and then after that, he just strolls out of his crease and smashes the ball through covers. So brilliant stuff from
And
him
I
again.
think he picked his matchups brilliantly, right?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think he really batted extremely well against Bashir, especially against Bashir, because he was able to take him down. And I think we were talking about this before the series, right? That how India will play Bashir will actually play a really important part in this series, simply because we've seen that teams haven't actually played as well against Bashir in England, especially. But Sri Lanka actually did very, very well when they won a Test match in
Yeah.
England last time, and they actually did pretty well against him. So we were like, okay, India should also do well. And when Bashir came to India again, India played him quite well. And so I think
So
this will
Bashir is
continue to be an important matchup.
Bashir is very interesting. He's had a shit game, but he did start 2 of the collapses India had, essentially, in a way.
Exactly. He does that
So
both the time,
he
right?
arguably took the 2 most important wickets for England.
Absolutely. So
So let's talk about his batting partner, KL Rahul. He gets 100 after the South African, after the 100 he got in South Africa at number 6. Right, this is his first 100 since then.
oh
He's
wow, yeah,
such
he
a
didn't get
fascinating.
any in Australia.
Yeah, he didn't get any in Australia. He just kept playing hot potato with like 70s and 80s in that period.
Yeah. Correct.
Yeah, so it's who's so like again, KL Rahul is so aesthetically pleasing to watch. He's so technically correct.
Yeah.
You always
Like
just whenever you're watching, it's the Aiden market thing. How the hell is he not averaging 45 or 50?
Exactly. And you see how well he leaves the ball, right? Like his bat is behind his pad, and like his head doesn't fall over towards the offside or whatever. Like he's
I
just
actually
he just looks
think
very
Jadeja
sorted
averages more than him from
in
memory.
Test match cricket.
Yeah, I think he still does, just about now.
He does. Of course, now there is the small matter of opening and batting at number 6, number 7. So
Yeah, that's just
that
that's
is
just small
definitely
silly
there.
things. Yeah, that's just silly
Yeah.
things, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. So the hallmark of KL Rahul's inning has to be that he was driving the ball really well. He was picking the fuller length balls. I think DK also mentioned this on comms that he had a pretty good strike rate against the fuller deliveries, and then good length he was leaving well. So I think that is really the key to your success as a test batter. How well do you negate the good length ball, and how well do you dispatch the full length deliveries? And of course, if you're a good player of the short ball and everything, that also helps.
Yeah, again, he was again brilliant, right? Everything good length, he just kept blocking or leaving. And the moment it was full, he just drove everything.
Yep. And I actually think he batted really well against Bashir as well. Did you see his shots? Like he swept him once, then he pulled him.
Yes.
Before that, he even played a drive. So like he looked very, very calm, composed, collected. The only thing is, we know KL Rahul plays really well in the first match of a Test series outside Asia. Since 2021, that has been a trend. So
I hope that isn't the case now.
this is the only thing we keep talking about, and we always worry that this shouldn't happen again, right?
I think weirdly my favorite KL shot isn't like it's several shots, is his leave. The one where he just keeps
Exactly.
his bat behind the pad. I think Nasser
That
calls
is
it the
lovely.
Kent leave.
Yeah. I also heard that.
Yeah.
So that was brilliant, man.
Yeah.
Honestly.
It's so
You just
aesthetically pleasing to watch that leave. You're like, oh, this is so good.
Yeah. And at this point, both of these guys, Rishabh Pant and KL Rahul, both of them have 6 centuries in Sena countries. And they've both played about the same number of innings, 50 innings, 52 innings, around that. And In fact, even their 50 plus scores are quite similar. Like the ratio at which they get their 50 plus scores. The difference lies is that Rishabh Pant gets starts more often. KL Rahul has had moments where he has not even gotten starts, where he has not gotten a lot of starts. But I believe since 2021, we can't really blame KL Rahul that much. Like the only complaint we can have against him is that he has not had a big series. But in context of how the other Indian batters have performed and everything in this whole time period, I think KL Rahul and Rishabh Pant, of course, with Jaiswal now coming in, wonderful signs that all of these guys have now gotten hundreds, and of course Shubman Gill in the first innings. By the way, that Shubman Gill dismissal I think was a bit unlucky in the sense that that ball nipped back a bit too much. Like you probably wouldn't have expected that much movement, right? From that at that point.
I mean, you could argue it's a bit of a dozy shot. You could argue it, but yeah,
if you played the line of the ball, you know that Shubman Gill likes to play the cut shot, so he probably just took his chance.
I think KL gets such a similar dismissal, doesn't he?
Yeah. KL Rahul, sorry?
Yeah, he also like chops on, right? KL Rahul also chops on, doesn't he?
yeah, you're right. And KL Rahul actually plays this one really good late cut as well. I think this was in the when he was in the 90s, so brilliant stuff from him.
He's played, I think he played a couple of late cuts, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think Nasser Hussain also mentioned, he mentioned the field settings at that point. But yeah, I think we often mention this, that KL Rahul has this sort of Kane Williamson or Joe Root energy to his batting, that that he plays the ball very, very late, right under his eye line and everything. So, like, at this point, we just hope that he makes big runs. That is all. But now like, I'm really happy to see
his namesake, like Rahul Dravid, always played the ball late.
Exactly. And I also found it quite interesting how Ben Stokes was bowling in this test match in general, but even in this innings, I think because of the angle that he creates, it's a bit interesting, right? Like, and India I think the top order batters have still managed to navigate through him pretty well. What are your thoughts on that specific matchup? Because if we talk about Ben Stokes and KL Rahul in this innings, in this match, so KL scores 35 runs of 70 balls against Ben Stokes. I think that's a good even way to play Ben Stokes.
Yeah, Stokes was definitely, you'd probably still say he was the best bowler for England, wasn't he, in this test match?
Yeah, even I think
probably the good thing India did is they made Stokes bowl 35 overs of himself.
That is a negative, big negative for England.
That's a big negative for him, because he's like, we don't really know how fit Stokes is yet. If they keep doing that, I think they could break him, and that's an advantage for India. And likewise, they could do that to Bumrah, and that could also cost India. So it is a bit concerning for England that Stokes is the best bowler. You don't really want that to be in that situation. But I actually thought the other bowlers bowled much better in this day. I just think India just batted really well. Like in the morning session, like KL leaving everything. It was an absorbing session. In the first hour, they only made 25 runs or something like that.
Even Vokes and Kars were actually bowling pretty well in that first session. But I think that was really the key period for India to navigate through that and really, not lose a lot of wickets, even if it meant not scoring that fast for some time. But that really set the foundation for the next session. And then India then had enough runs to play with after a point. Even though, again, there was a collapse and, that
so
always happens.
The Pant KL partnership gave me like the Pujara Pant vibes at times, where like Rahul was just chilling, and then Pant was going nuts. And then Pant gets out, Karun Nair walks in, right? He doesn't get out for a duck this time, thankfully. But it was what did you think of Karun's knock, by the way?
So Abhijit actually mentions that he felt that Nair was playing for his spot, and it reminded me of those callous knocks of 40 or 50. I think we can probably still give him some leeway, right? Because he's playing his first test match after a long time. And I think he didn't actually look that bad while he was batting. He was looking all right. The poor guy got 2 soft dismissals in both the innings. But I would still say, as you said, probably Karun Nair at number 6 is not the best usage of your resources. And maybe he's coming in at a point where there isn't really that much to prove. It's a bit of a weird situation where India are doing well, so you probably still need a few more runs to really capitalize. But it's not a pressure situation as such. Maybe that gets the better out of him. Who knows? Who knows if India is 70 for 4 in the next match and Karun Nair gets 100?
Probably, right? Maybe he does. Yeah, I thought it was a weird knock. Like, he was clearly like trying to take time so he doesn't get out cheaply, because he's so desperate to prove himself. But I also think there was, in the back of his mind, there was the worry of the collapse.
Yeah, and eventually that is what happened again, didn't it?
That's what happens again, right? Like that way, they just fall like a pack of cards.
Like if you're an Indian cricket
Jadeja
fan
gets a nice red inker.
Yeah, that was pretty handy for him, I think. But I actually didn't really love his approach that much, and we'll talk more about that and then the chase after this break.
All right.
Cricket boards actually make watching their games almost impossible. I spend almost as much time trying to find where I can view it as I do actually following the action. That is why I use NordVPN. They let me find all the cricket I want to watch while protecting me from the nasty side of the internet. Nord will free your cricket matches. Grab your exclusive NordVPN deal by going to nordvpn.com/good areas to get a huge discount off your NordVPN plan plus 4 additional months on top. It's completely risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. Watch every match with NordVPN.
Welcome back to Third Innings. I'm Varun and I'm joined by Shayan. And Shayan was just talking about the collapse.
Yeah. And again, I think it was that partnership. When Rishabh Pant gets out again, there is another collapse. And even though Karun Nair and KL Rahul do bat together for a bit, after that point, how many runs do India make like for the last 6 wickets?
I think it was more just because Karun and KL have a good partnership this time. Not a good partnership, but like they have a partnership.
Yeah. They have a partnership, right?
They have a 46 run partnership. So KL actually bats quite quickly in that partnership. He nearly bats at like 80 to 100, I think, from memory, in terms of strike rate.
Correct. Yeah. He makes 24 of 28 in that partnership. And so after that, India just make what? They have just partnerships of 2, 14, 0, 0 and 15. So that's another 31 runs added, right?
Yeah.
That wasn't
It's
ideal,
better than
I suppose.
first innings, probably.
Yeah, I suppose so. But so it was that KL Rahul and Rishabh Pant partnership that set up India for this test match, for this innings. And what did you think about Jadeja's approach in this innings? Like when he was batting with Prasidh Krishna, I sort of didn't get it, dude. Like yes, he got a got a 6 and a 4, I think, towards the end, and that really motivated me a bit. I was like, yes, that's more like it and everything. But like, did you not think for the strike he was farming, he could have attempted more boundaries?
I'd like to think he was, but I just don't think he was able to hit them. I don't think
Fair
he was
enough, fair
like
enough.
he always had the right. He always had the right approach for it, right?
So I think we have a super chat from Karthik Odaya, and he
So
talks
Karthik
about
is
how
asking, for a second time in a row, extras outscored 6 batters to the 7 on the first day. Can't afford to have non-existent middle order and Prasidh as third pacer. I don't think it is a non-existent middle order. It's just the lower order are shit,
agreed.
right? Like because
Yeah, I don't think
5 of the top 6 make runs, make hundreds in this game. It's the first time it's ever happened for India in a test match, right? India have never had 500s in a test match.
500s in a test match, right? So I don't think
Yes.
we can complain too
Wait,
much about the batting.
Hold up, is
We
it
can complain about the
500s?
top order
Yes,
batting.
it is 500s. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, and of course
So
with Sai
and
Sudarshan
I
was
think you
just
could
making
say
his debut.
Shardul Thakur probably just had a terrible game. Like you expected more from him. Like 20 runs from Rahul in both, no Rahul, from Shardul in both innings would have been crucial, right? If he just batted to his average, not even like 50s
Yeah.
from him. I also
But
think
we know
like,
he's a very
Jadeja
high variance player, right?
He's a very high variance player. He only makes runs at the oval.
Yeah, and
or
he
at
only makes
Gabba for
50s
some
or
reason.
nothing in England.
Yeah.
He has 3 half
On
centuries in
50s.
England, mind you.
Yes.
But he doesn't
Might be the
really,
greatest
like,
batter ever in England. Might be the greatest number 8 ever in England, but nothing outside of that. Right. I don't think also like with Jadeja, I don't think Jaddu is very good batting with the tail.
I think you've talked about this before. And do you have
Yes.
any numbers handy, like to prove
No,
that?
not it's difficult to see how much of like because sometimes he was batting at 8, so I don't know if because he was the tail in those cases, so it's a bit tricky in that.
Yeah.
But
And then there's also about
yeah. Sorry.
yeah. I'm just sorry. Continue.
No, actually, I forgot what I was saying.
No, I'm sorry. I was just addressing the Prasidh as the third pacer issue. I just saw that, so it clicked.
Go ahead.
I don't think we can be this impatient when like he's just starting out his test career, and I know he hasn't been very disciplined and everything, and especially with Siraj not bowling as well as he has been, I don't think I know it's not ideal with this bowling attack, but then you probably have to back him now, and for the talent that he has, and he probably just needs to bowl at a good length, right? Because if he can bowl at a good length with that extra bounce, that really helps India, and like that causes issues for the bowlers. Maybe if he goes too short, like if he bowls short of a good length or short, that makes it easier for the English batters. Although if they wanted a proper short ball plan like they did yesterday, for that Prasidh will still be handy, I feel. So they have to just use him a bit properly.
Harsha was talking about this yesterday. He was like, so when Prasidh bowls full, he just floats it, Whereas I think what Ishant learned with Gillespie is that even when you bowl full, you still hit the deck hard, right? So you still want
Right.
that zip of the deck, which Prasid doesn't do yet, and he probably won't do for like he needs time to do that. You can't. It's not one of those things where you like a cricket game where you just like change like the
I
position
get
of
it.
the
I get
marker,
it.
right? Right? It's
Yeah, yeah,
quite
yeah.
difficult for professional players. Also, it's not Prasid's fault. Like it's Siraj's at this point. Like again, even today, right? Siraj, he was like he bowls one good over, like a disciplined good length in that
Yeah.
perfect channel. I was like, oh, okay, Siraj actually bowls a good over. Then immediately throws it away in the next show. Absolute filth,
And then you were like,
right?
never mind.
I was like, God. Like you couldn't let me have 2 overs, bro. Like two.
Yeah, man. And Siraj really needs to work on those opening spells, man. Like, of course, he must be working hard and everything. I'm not denying that. But we know that it's not really coming out well for him in those first 10 overs. So I really hope that. Exactly. Abhijit actually brings up
Yeah,
a great point that India have two third pacers. And I think I agree with that.
I think
Both
that's the
Siraj and.
perfect way to put it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Both Siraj and
I'd
Prasidh
actually
have.
argue Prasid is a fourth seamer, to be completely honest.
Yeah, I think I can also agree with that.
Because
In an
like you
ideal
don't want
lineup, yeah.
you want Prasid to ball in very specific scenarios. You don't want it to rely on him too much, right? Like Siraj,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think would be a great third seamer. I think is perfectly I'm fine with that. So again, comes back to the question: who the hell is the second seamer?
That is the issue. And what are India going to do when Bumrah isn't there?
Mm-hmm. So
Yeah.
Soham has a super chat for us. I think on a similar thing. Shardul isn't going to work on these pitches against Basball. Rather play Kuldeep and Nitish instead of Jaddu and Shardul. Nitish has a better power game as well. Of course, Nitish has a better power game. He's a batter. You should have a better
Yeah.
power game, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
I
think this is
think
a
so.
very
We
interesting
were
point.
against Nitish because I don't think any of us in the team, you, me, or Behram, were expecting Shardul to bowl 6 overs in that innings. Right?
Exactly,
If that's
exactly.
the utility, you go with NKR ahead of him.
Absolutely, absolutely. He is the better
Right?
batter. We know what he did in Australia. You just back
Mm-hmm.
him if you don't. Like, he could bowl 6 overs out of 100, right? Like, you probably just have to
Mm-hmm.
trust him at some point.
I have no issue with
Excuse me.
NKR and Kuldeep. I just don't like. I need to see what Jaddu does in the fourth innings now, right? Because it's like you could not like. We also don't know what Kuldeep will do. What I'd probably do is I think I'd bring Kuldeep in next game, play Jadeja with him, see what he does, and if he's in good form, then you can think about bringing Nitish in,
Yeah, I think that's a perfect approach. Perfect way to put it.
right? Because I'd give Jadeja one more test match. I don't think he's been bad this test match at all. Like like both times he's had to bat with the tail in like a fucked up situation.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I get what you mean. I'm just saying that I'd bring Kuldeep in first. I wouldn't do both changes in the same game.
Correct.
So if it helps Abhijit, I don't think India would have played him anyway.
Going by what we have seen since 2021 after
From
that
what we've
test
seen,
final.
I don't think they play him. So yeah, they didn't play him at the Oval in 2023. They wouldn't play him today at Leeds, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, okay. So finally, let's go back to this to England. England are 21 for no loss. They're chasing 371, 350 runs tomorrow. If there is no rain, and from what I've seen, rain is forecasted for early morning, but I don't know if that's changed since I've looked at it. Right?
Yeah.
If we have, let's say, like 85 overs, which is like the normal rate I expect, could England chase it? Would you say?
I mean, they've done it before, right? Against India itself,
Mm-hmm.
they've done it. They've made 378 against India, and they've also they almost chased 371 against Australia at Lords when Ben Stokes played that innings. And then apart from that, every single time and in fact that was their only loss at home while chasing. And apart from that, every single time they've managed to chase down a target at home. And there are a lot of like 250 plus targets, and there was one 130 and a 200 odd target. So chasing at home, Baseball England has been absolutely brilliant. And this is the one fear as Indian fans for sure, that how are they going to stop England? And again, it's going to come down to Jasprit Bumrah, man. It is going to be him. How much can they bowl him?
So again, I'll go back to the question Behram asked us, right? What is
Yeah.
the minimum amount of overs England need to chase this?
I would probably still say with Bumrah there, they need 80 overs, 75, 80 overs at least, I would say. I
So
don't
they
think they
need
can do it
350
faster
more?
than that.
So do you think they 70 overs or 75 is what you're expecting? That's kind of what 80 is I think a probably fair assumption,
Yeah, I think around
right?
80 overs. Yeah,
Because I think Jadeja would still find a way to be economical.
correct. And especially in the
Yeah.
fourth innings, I think He'll
Yep.
be really useful.
Yeah, we also
And
need
just
to see if
holding.
the pitch can deteriorate more. I didn't
Exactly,
mind them
that's
bowling
the next
today,
thing.
right? I think they just wanted to bowl him today so Bumrah can get another. They just ran out of time.
Yeah.
I necessarily don't think it was a tactical move because I don't expect that from
No,
this
no, no.
management.
Yeah, I think it was just like one over, give it to Jadeja and close the day's play, and maybe to change ends or something. It could possibly be for that, or just could be random. No real, like massively
Yeah,
tactical.
my guess is they want one more Bumrah over. Jan Jadeja finishes overs quickly.
Yeah, possibly. So if what happens is that if England chases down, they will need a certain amount of time. They'll need to make what. Uh, and who do you think is going to make that? It has to be Joe Root, and again, right? He has to really come to the party if they are going to win this Test match. Of course, he didn't make a lot of runs in the first innings, but then England actually ended up still making a lot of runs, and it was their tail which came clutch, and that is the difference between India and England in this Test match so far. The Indian top order has been better than England's top order so far, but then it was England's tail in the first innings that really changed it.
Yeah. So I think it's the. Even I know we have trauma from the last chase that England had, but it's the point that 371 runs are still a lot of runs. You still need things to go right for you in order to chase
Absolutely,
that, right?
absolutely. It doesn't happen every day, man. Like
It
I
doesn't
know,
even for Basball England.
yeah. Absolutely. Like a lot of things will have to go right. I feel India, if they can Bumrah is Bumrah, dude. Like he just needs to bowl, and how much can he bowl? India have to manage that really well.
Yeah.
I think India probably still need to trust Shardul a little more. As someone pointed out in the comments that he will turn it around in the last innings. So
I think it's
who
Abhijit
knows if
again.
he can actually do that? Because if you remember that Oval Test from 2021, that is what he does, right? Like in the fourth innings, he doesn't really
Yeah,
bowl
there was
great
a
balls, but
100-run
he gets wickets.
partnership. Yeah. No, actually, to be
Yeah,
fair,
yeah.
I think in the Oval Test he does bowl a good ball. That I remember.
No,
for
I'm
the first
talking about,
wicket.
I think, the ball that gets Joe
In
Root
general.
out, right?
Yeah, that's a shit gets wickets ball. Yes, I agree with you there.
Exactly. That's the one,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, because I didn't mind India not declaring or like everyone's like, oh, play for declaration. I'm like if one team is anyway going to always go for the win, there's no point of you also doing that.
So I was just looking up how many overs each team was bowling back in that Oval Test of 2021.
Yeah.
So, like how many overs each bowler bowled. So Shardul actually bowls only 8 overs out of 92 in that match. Very interesting.
Oh, in that innings? Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
In
That
that
makes
innings, yeah, not that
about
match.
makes sense, right? Makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Jadeja bowls 30 overs, man. Jadeja 30 overs.
I think
Bumrah
we can
bowls
expect
22.
something like that. How much does
Yeah,
Jadeja
Bumrah
go
bowls
for in that
22.
game?
50 runs in 30 overs. 2 wickets.
Okay. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
I'm just looking at
Yeah.
that match as a template as to what India can do right to win, like to defend a total in England. Then we can look at what, of course, we remember very well it was that Bairstow partnership and Bairstow and Joe Root partnership where after a point Joe Root just makes so many runs that Bairstow was just chilling, bro. Like after a point in that I think it was the final day when Root just starts scoring really really quickly.
So I
it
think
was,
Jadeja Jadeja has like two important purposes tomorrow, right? Extract something from the pitch and actually keep the overrate going for time because you still need time to pick up wickets, don't you?
Correct. And on this, I have a really interesting question because do you think it is tough to bat? Like after 4 days, do you really think this is a tough pitch to bat on? I doubt it, man. Like I don't think much has changed. Even
I
today, the
don't
wickets.
think any of them look. There's the odd ball which misbehaved,
Yeah.
but it was largely
correct.
fine. So I think Nitin was asking, could Preston be effective tomorrow with variable bounce? Assuming there is variable bounce, that would still need him to actually bowl well. You still need to put the
Yeah.
ball in the right areas.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
what
good
I don't
length again.
trust either him or Siraj at this point. I hope they prove me wrong. But again, like if I
Absolutely.
was the team, I would just be talking to Siraj and asking him, just bowl good length. Don't try to bowl the magic delivery. I think Bumrah was saying out in the post game yesterday. So post day yesterday, he was like, I just try to hit the right length. I don't try to bowl the magic balls, which you can get tempted to. I think Siraj does try to bowl magic balls, and that's where he gets fucked.
I agree. That definitely happens with Siraj. That he tries to attack probably a bit too much, and we know that he isn't actually striking as much for the economy rates that he has been going for since that last Lord's Test in 2021. So we really hope that tomorrow is that innings where Siraj can really prove his best. And I think, what do you think is the most important matchup going in tomorrow? Like what particular batter v bowler matchup is going to define this game? Of course, there is Bumrah versus Root, but apart from that,
There's Bumrah versus everyone, but yes.
And then Shretan KD says, "Why are you guys still talking as if India have any chance?" I mean, dude, come on.
Because we're masochists, mate.
It's still 371 runs, man. Come on. It can't be like
I say
it can't be a
no.
walk
I
in the
think
park, dude.
India can win, but I think I would
Yeah,
say
I
this:
think
if
India
India can't defend 371 with Bumrah, this is going to be a long series. That I
Yeah.
will say.
I think India are in a better position as compared to England at the moment. But yeah, let's see what happens tomorrow. I think
I'm
371
just going to
runs
be
are
hopeful.
still...
I think India defended mainly because,
Yeah,
like statistically, at some point you have to defend 370.
exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's a lot of runs in the bank, dude.
Yes.
And
Like
that
it is,
England team, when they were just starting out with baseball and everything, they were really confident. And it was the summer of Johnny Bairstow, right? He was playing so well. And I think they also get this really good opening partnership. So India need to really, take early wickets first of all. Get Joe Root in as soon as they can. And then from there, let's see what happens. And of course, we've been talking
Yeah.
about how number fives in this era have been doing really well. So it will be interesting to see what Harry Brook can do. Of course, there is
again,
Ben
can
Stokes. man,
Ollie
Ben
Pope have
Stokes.
2 good innings in a row?
That will be interesting to see. And of course, it's a big chase. Ben Stokes, always there will be expectations simply because of what he's done in the past.
But
I think
the other thing is, Ben doesn't do well versus India and England. With the
Yeah.
bat.
Does he do well versus India anyways? I don't think he has
No,
a
I
good
think
record against India.
it's like 27 in India and like 19 in England from memory.
Oh.
And not one dismissal versus Bumrah, by the way. Hilarious. Like he's shit versus India and England, but he doesn't get out to Bumrah.
Yeah, I think he gets out to Bumrah in that one innings of that first match, right? The first match of the first innings of that 2024 tour, and where like he just drops his bat and he's like very shocked.
No, I'm not. No, I mean in England, not in India. In India, he does get
Oh
out
yeah,
to
yeah.
Bumrah.
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah. India needs to get poor Stokes and Brooks early. Yeah, I think Stokes, I'm not as worried about it because if this was Australia, it would be different. But like, I'd still back India to. They usually bowl well to Stokes. I think Brook is a
Yeah.
big one because he can change things quickly.
Yeah, and especially that matchup against Siraj, I think Siraj has to be really disciplined while bowling to Brook, even if it means probably not taking as many wickets. But I know it sounds probably a bit counterintuitive given India have to take 10 wickets to win the test match. But I think against specific batters, Siraj probably needs to just work on his discipline a little more. I think at this point we know he's probably not a great strike bowler either. Because if he was taking more wickets, I would be fine with his economy rates. I'd
Yeah,
be like, okay,
like
it's good.
the funniest thing we were looking at it, right? Him and Bumrah have identical strike rates in England,
Exactly.
but like
That is
his
special.
economy is like 1.2 more than Bumrah.
Yeah, that is where the difference comes.
He did look a bit tired. I don't know if he looks tired. I just don't think he looked invincible. Like I think he's allowed to look normal for one game, like one
Yeah.
spell, I'd say. Right?
I think it's fine. Like, not much to read into it yet. Let's see what happens tomorrow.
If he has a bad game tomorrow, then I'll be concerned. That's
Yeah.
when I'll be concerned. Right? Like everyone needs to go early, right? But I think it's the way I'm looking at it is like I think England could fail just because they'll collapse, which I'm worried about. I don't want an English collapse just because it's like because the way I was looking at it, the two ways India win the series is Bumrah goes nuts or England collapse. If both those things happen in the same game, then I don't think India win again, right?
That is an interesting thought process. And especially with Bumrah not playing he's not going to play all the test matches. And do you think he's going to play the next one? I doubt it. Especially with how much he's bowled in the first innings. And now, if he bowls
No, I
another
wouldn't.
25 overs tomorrow, maybe 25 overs, that will be a lot of overs for this test match. 45, 50.
The way I see it is like I think if it's a draw tomorrow, like if India lose, I'd risk him for the second one because you don't want a situation where he's coming back with like 2 and India 2-0 down. If India win tomorrow by some chance, and rest him. You don't need him, right? Yeah, so I think just before we end, so Keith just as a question for us. Ideally, the perfect scenario for India would be some rain, just half an hour and an hour. It would only disrupt England's flow of batting, but smoke rest for Bumrah and less time for England to chase. I think that's perfect. I don't know if it disrupts the batting if it happens at the start, but I agree about if there is less time, that would mean England have to take more risks, and that would play into India's hands.
Yeah, I think that actually brings Prasidh and Siraj also into the game because England will try
Correct,
to
yeah.
attack them, and with that, and even we were talking about matchups, right? So again, Jadeja versus Brook, we know he got his.
Yeah.
We know Jadeja almost got him out in the first innings as well.
He did get him. He created a chance. It just
Yeah.
it didn't stick, right?
Exactly.
All right, so thank you so much for following third innings. This will be the final third innings for this match. We'll be back for the second test match because once the game ends tomorrow, Jared and Mehran will be doing a live on it. I don't know if they'll do it tomorrow or day after, but it will happen soon. So don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for watching, guys. Make sure to bookmark goodareas.co for one-stop Good Areas everything. Subscribe to this channel and have a blast. Bye.
Brian Lara used pot plants to work on his placement. John Wright glued his glove to his bat. Sachin Tendulkar dug up practice pictures. Tatenda Taibu cut the top off his bat. Claire Taylor used a hockey grip. Steve Smith was from tennis. Dean Jones would call phantom runs. And Victor Trumper turned the nets into a war zone to survive. The best batters in the world do whatever they have to make runs. We have told their stories in our new book, The Art of Batting.